to the channel, and this is the Google Pixel Fold. Now, I've had this Google Pixel Fold since late June, so it's been about a month and some change since I've had the phone. I've traveled with it, I've used it almost everywhere, so let's talk about my experience with the Pixel Fold after a month of using it. Alright, so just like any of my reviews on this channel, let's do a quick overview of the Pixel Fold specs real quick. The Pixel Fold uses the Tensor G2 processor, which in my opinion is fine for this first gen Fold from Google. Would it have been better to use an updated processor? Of course, but I think they're saving Tensor G3 for the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro and so on. But anyways, this unit that I have has 512 gigs of storage and 12 gigs of RAM, and the Pixel Fold also packs a 4,821 milliamp hour battery. Now, the outer display on the Pixel Fold is a nice one, and it's a 5.8 inch display that has a peak brightness of 1550 nits with a 120 Hz refresh rate that features LTPO. And the inner display is a 7.6 inch display, also at 120 Hz, but has a peak brightness of 1450 nits. Now, around back, you'll see a triple camera setup. Now, fair warning, this isn't the same cameras that you'll find on the Pixel 7 Pro. These are somewhat downgraded camera sensors, but we'll talk more about cameras in a little bit. And then you have the selfie camera on the outside display, and there's also one on the inside. So in total, there's 5 cameras on the Pixel Fold. Now, the Pixel Fold only comes in 2 different colors, which are pretty boring in my opinion, and it's porcelain, which is like this champagne gold color, and black. Personally, I prefer the black one because of the glossy black frames around the phone, but what I usually like to do is put a skin on my phone from D brand. Now, just like my friend Mr. Mobile, or Mr. Foldable as I like to call him every now and then, I went ahead and added the tan leather on here to not only give my Pixel Fold this unique leather look, but this specific skin actually adds a little bit of texture and grip to the phone without using a bulky case. Now, if you're not a fan of either skins, you can opt in for, the Damascus skin if you're a big Call of Duty fan like I am, or their Robot City skins, which kind of resembles a notebook that I used to carry to class with me. But anyways, if you want to get your Pixel Fold skins, use the first link down below or go to dbrand.com/heymarkel. Alright, so now that we pretty much covered the basics of the Pixel Fold, I wanted to start off this review and talk about its display and how it's been using Google's first Fold for the past month. So the outer display, in my opinion, is the best display that I've used on a foldable. I love the passport shape form factor of the Pixel Fold. It reminds me so much of the Oppo Find N2, but a little bit bigger. But nonetheless, the Pixel Fold still feels manageable. Navigating throughout the menus and apps on the outer cover display is amazing. It's super fast, very fluid, and not once did I encounter any hiccups. Now, one-handed use on the Pixel Fold is definitely doable, and it's so much better when compared to other foldables in the market, but once you unfold it, that's when it becomes a two-handed task. Now, right off the bat, people are going to notice 2 things on the Pixel Fold on the inside display, and that's the crease in the middle and the bezels. First off, the crease. I would say in the beginning it did bother me since I've been using the Oppo Find N2 and also the Xiaomi Mix Fold 2, which had incredible inner displays with little to no crease in the middle. But with the Pixel Fold, you will be able to see that crease a lot easier, but it honestly doesn't feel all that terrible once your finger goes by it. The bezels, on the other hand, I actually don't hate it. I kind of love that there's something to hold on to when the phone's unfolded. Now, it's up to you and your preference, but for me, I think the inner display isn't terrible, but obviously it could be a lot better, as we've seen from Oppo, Samsung, and Xiaomi. But then again, this is a first gen product. When it comes to performance and battery life, it's running the Tensor G2 processor, and from my experience, yes, it will get hot, especially during the summer. It's not a great processor per se, but good enough for a Pixel device. I'm able to multitask, play games on it, watch videos on it, work and reply to emails. But when you're in a climate where it's really hot, you might find the Pixel Fold to throttle its performance so that your phone doesn't overheat and potentially explode. But that's the Tensor G2 though. It's fine, but not the best. When it comes to battery life though, I found that the Pixel Fold did get better the 2nd or 3rd week that I've been using it. I'm not a super heavy user or multitasker, and more often than not, I'm using the outside display more than the inner display, and on average, I'd get about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time, which is honestly not that great for an $1,800 foldable. But again, like I say in my other reviews, how you use your phone could be a lot different than, how I use mine. So take my testing with a grain of salt, and you might be able to get more than 6 hours of screen on time, or maybe less than what I'm getting. Now let's talk about software real quick, and this is where it can be a little bit tricky. So I'll say this right away, I love the home screen dock that you can pull up when you're inside an app. As an example, you can swipe up just a little bit from the bottom and a dock with your apps magically pop up so you can quickly drag another app next to your opened app. I think this is really cool, and as an iPad mini user, this feels very familiar. Now, I also like in some apps, you can drag and drop files from one app to another without having to open up, the file browser. Now, this doesn't work on all apps. This seems to be exclusive to mostly Google apps at the moment, but I'm hoping this feature can be executed on all apps in the future. But let's talk about what I don't love about the, overall software experience on this Pixel Fold. So first off, social media apps like Instagram, Threads, Twitter, or just about any social media apps that I use isn't optimized for the big screen. So what you end up is a vertical app with massive black bars on the left and right of your display. And one can make the argument that yes, this is the perfect scenario to, have two apps open at the same time. And yeah, if an app like Twitter isn't optimized for tablets or big screen Android devices, I'll most likely have another app open so that, it doesn't look too jarring. But one trick I found for Twitter, if you actually rotate your phone sideways, it fills up the entire screen, which kind of solves my problem. But this doesn't work on all apps. Otherwise, I'll just close the fold and use the cover display on the outside, which is optimized. So yeah, that's probably the biggest downside of using the Pixel Fold right now. If there was a way to force apps to load or fill the entire screen, then I'd be somewhat okay with it. But rumors are suggesting that Google is actually forcing more developers to develop for bigger screen Android devices. And the last thing that bothered me about the Pixel Fold software, and I'm sure that everyone's going to be saying the same thing here, is that you can't have a custom display for the cover display and the inner display. So it's always mirrored, which means what you have on the outside display in terms of, what apps or widgets are being shown in each page is also mirrored on the inside once you open your Pixel Fold. But also the spacing on the inside is quite terrible. There's so much unused space here, and you can't really move apps around. It feels very iOS-like with how strict they are with the home screen. Like the At a Glance widget, for example, it takes up the entire top row so that you can't add apps or other widgets next to it. It's either there or you turn it off. Same goes for the search bar. You can't remove it whatsoever. So that bottom row, you can't put anything on there. Now, I haven't tried a custom launcher on the Pixel Fold yet since I wanted to give you guys my opinion on, what to expect out of the box without downloading a third-party software. But as of right now, what I've experienced over the past month is what you'll probably experience as well when you guys decide to pick one up. I think with software updates, Google can definitely address some of these issues and give us, one, the option to put our icons and widgets anywhere and everywhere on the screen, and two, give us the option to have, separate setups, one for the outside display and one for the inner display. Okay, so let's talk cameras. Now, as you guys have seen, the Pixel Fold has a total of 5 cameras, but we'll try to focus more on the triple camera setup on the back because it's the one that I'd recommend everyone to use anyways. So the triple camera on the back consists of a 48 megapixel main camera and 2 10.8 megapixel camera for the ultra-wide and telephoto 5x lens. Now, these are sensors that we've actually never seen on other Pixel devices yet, so how do they look? So in everyday normal conditions, outdoors, the Pixel Fold, no matter which focal length you choose, looks pretty good with that pixel look processing at the end. It's very natural with very accurate colors and looks contrasty out of the camera. It's not overly processed unlike some phones that adds insane amount of sharpening. These photos I've shot looks good out of the camera, and like I said, whether it's the 1x, the ultra wide, or the 5x telephoto, shots will come out looking crisp. In dimly lit situations, since it's a Pixel device, you're not going to be disappointed with this either. With night sight and Astrphotography Mode, nighttime photos are going to look good with little to no noise in the shadows. Now, with this being a foldable, you can also prop up your phone in so many different ways, and you can also use the cover display as your viewfinder and use all 3 focal lengths if you want to take better looking selfies, which is awesome. Now, when it comes to video, it's about what you'd expect from a Pixel device. It's good, but not all that great. Unlike the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, there's no cinematic blur option here, but there is 4K 60 on all lenses, which is really nice to see here. Now, one weird thing I ran into for the Pixel Fold is if you want to use the bigger display on the inside to record 4K videos, you'd actually have to manually toggle the 16:9 option and then tap 4K, or, shut the fold close and use the cover display to shoot 4K videos. Now, what would have been awesome is if you tap on 4K using the inside display, that it would automatically toggle 16:9 mode. It's a little annoying that, you have to toggle 16:9 mode first and then tap 4K and then hit record. It's a little annoying, and I hope that they can fix this with a software update. And yeah, that's the Google Pixel Fold. It's a first generation fold that I think could be a lot better with software updates, because most of the annoying things that I ran into are mostly, software problems. And I think the overall hardware on the Pixel Fold is top notch. Whether or not you think it's worth $1,800 is up to you. But now that we have a foldable from Google, hopefully that'll entice developers to start developing their apps for a big screen and optimize their apps for a tablet-like interface. Anyways, that's been it for this video, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy my review. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.